Wave guys. Excuse madam Bandru.
ಅರ್ಜುನ್ಗೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದು ಮಾಡಿ ಹುಡುಗಿಯರು ಅಡ್ಡ ನಿಂದಿರೋ ಥರ ಬೇಕು ಅವ್ನು ಹೇಳಿ ಆ ಕಡೆ ಸ್ಪೇಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು
Participants to kindly accommodate yourselves in the front rows. Please come to the front rows.
ಕವರ್ ಅಡ್ಡ ಬರಬೇಡಿ ಲೈವ್ ಇದೆ
Team parties also to be seated. Team parties, please be seated.
Varshita.
Kindly accommodate yourselves quickly. The crowd that is standing here towards my left. The crowd that is standing here towards my left, please come down. Come to the front rows.
Length. Ma'am.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I, on behalf of B.M.S College of Law, take this privilege to extend a very warm and a heartfelt welcome to one and all present here on our 8th National Moot Competition organized by B.M.S College of Law. Welcome you all and welcome back. Maitrim bhajata akila hridaitrim atmavadeva varannapi pashyata yuddham tyajata spardham tyajata tyajata pareshva akrama akramanam. It simply translates: serve with friendship and humanity which will conquer the hearts of everyone. Look upon yourself the way you look at others. Renounce war. Renounce competition which is unnecessary for power. Give up aggression on another's property. This, having such a powerful meaning conveyed, a composition by Chandrasekhara Saraswati, is perhaps the anthem for world peace and universal brotherhood. I will now request Priyanka Bhatt to render this invocation song. Over to you. Shri Guru Namaha. Maitrim bhajata akhilah jetrim. Maitrim bhajata akhilah jetrim. Maitrim bhajata akhilah jetrim. Atmavadeva paranapi pashyata. Atmavadeva paranapi pashyata. Yuddham tyajata spardham tyajata. Yuddham tyajata spardham tyajata. Tyajata pareshva kramamakramam. Tyajata pareshva kramamakramam. Maitrim bhajata akhilah jetrim. Maitrim bhajata akhilah jetrim. Janani prithvi kamadughaste. Janani prithvi kamadughaste. Janako devah sakala dayalu. Janako devah sakala dayalu. Damyata datta dayadham janata. Damyata datta dayadham janata. Shreyo bhuyat sakala jananam. 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 Thank you. Thank you so much, Priyanka. I hope this experience turns out to be wonderful for all our fellow participants. Moving ahead, I now request Professor Anita F. D'Souza to extend formal welcome address.
Good evening and warm welcome to one and all present here. Paying my humble tributes to our legendary founders, Shri B.M. Sreenivasaiah and Shri B.S. Narayan. I, on behalf of the management, staff and students of the college, extend a warm welcome to all the dignitaries and participants of this event. We are honored and humbled by the presence of our eminent alumni, Honorable Mr. Justice P.S. Dinesh Kumar, Judge, High Court of Karnataka, I extend a warm welcome to him and request our chairman, Sri Abhiram Sharma, to kindly felicitate him. Thank you, sir. I extend a warm welcome to Shri V. Sudesh Pai, Senior Advocate, High Court of Karnataka. Request our Director Administration, Wing Commander Raghavan to kindly felicitate him. Thank you, sir. Our beloved donor trustee and chairperson of B.M.S. Educational Trust, Madam Ragini Narayan, Dr. Dayanand Pai, Life Trustee, Shri Ravi Venkatesam, Trustee, and Shri Ravindra Pai are unable to attend this program. They have conveyed their best wishes and blessings to all the participants. I extend a warm welcome to our chairman, Shri Abhiram Sharma. Request Suteja Kulkarni, student coordinator, to kindly honor sir. Thank you, Sutej. I extend a warm welcome to Wing Commander R.A. Raghavan, Director Administration, B.M.S. Educational Trust. Request Jagdish, Student Coordinator, to kindly honor sir. Thank you, Jagdish. Warm welcome to Shri B.S. Sanjeeva, Senior Manager, Finance, B.M.S. Educational Trust. Request Vagni, Student Coordinator, to kindly felicitate sir. Thank you, Vagni. Warm welcome to Ms. Sahana Florence. I request Jai Chandra, Student Coordinator, to kindly felicitate Madam. Warm welcome to Raniada Niada, the Faculty Coordinator. I request Ms. Namita to kindly felicitate Madam. Warm welcome to all the student coordinators and volunteers. Can we cheer them with a big round of applause, please? I extend a warm welcome to my esteemed colleagues, the admin staff, and to all the students. Last but not the least, my dear young Mooters. As we all know, mooting is an integral part of legal education. Through this competition, it is a privilege for us to host so many young and bright minds from all over the country, representing the best of institutions. A warm welcome and thank you to each one of you for responding to our invitation and honoring us with your participation. I wish you all good luck. The world awaits your important contributions. Ensure you leave your footprints. Thank you. Wishing you all an enriching experience.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for the welcome. Moving ahead, inspiration and motivation are the two best ways to boost one's confidence and bring out the best skills in one. It is our privilege to have one such personality whom we can look up to among us today. And to introduce the same, I would like to call Sheetal Hedges to introduce our chief guest for the day.
Good evening, one and all present here. I'm Sheetal Hedges, and I feel incredibly honored to have this opportunity to introduce our esteemed guest, Honorable Justice P.S. Dinesh Kumar, at our inaugural program of B.M. Sreenivasaiah Memorial 8th National Moot Court Competition. It is also a great privilege to say that Sir is an alumnus of B.M.S College of Law, having graduated with honors from B.M.S College of Law. Sir began his legal career as a young and passionate advocate. Sir started to practice in the High Court of Karnataka in the year 1990 and was appointed as an additional central government standing counsel in the year 1998 and as a senior standing counsel in the year 2003. Sir has served as a senior panel counsel for the Central Bureau of Investigation, senior standing counsel for BSNL, Union Public Service Commission, University Grants Commission, All India Council for Technical Education, National Council for Teacher Education. Sir has also served as standing counsel Karnataka State Power Transmission Corporation, Karnataka State Road Transport Corporation, Bangalore Electricity Supply Company, Bangalore Development Authority. Sir has also worked as a mediator and a trainer in mediation. Sir has been elevated in 2016 as Judge, High Court of Karnataka. Throughout his illustrious career, Sir has been known for his impeccable legal acumen, his impartiality, and his commitment to upholding the principles of justice. Sir's judgment has set legal precedents, leaving an enduring impact on our nation's jurisprudence. But beyond the rocks and the gravel, Sir is known for his humanity and compassion. His dedication of monitoring young advocates and inspiring the next generation of legal minds has been exemplary. It is a privilege to have Sir with us. Over to you, Sir.
Good evening to one and all here. My esteemed friend and senior advocate, Mr. Sudesh Pai, Mr. Ram Sharma, Kumar Surakman, esteemed India, Mrs. Sahana, Dr. Anita D'Souza, other dignitaries, and above all, my young friends, students, ladies and gentlemen. As the lady who introduced me as I'm also an alumnus of this college, it's a great pleasure and privilege to be with you all this evening. Of course, I did thinking that I would be here this evening, in the sense, without a travel schedule, that I prepared a long speech to deliver here. But because of the paucity of time, perhaps I may not be able to read the entire. Yet I'll make an effort First and the foremost is I must thank the management, the principal of this institution to have thought it appropriate to call me for this function. Greetings to one and all, particularly the management of the B.M.S College. I'm happy to be amidst you all. The life of visionary leader and renowned philanthropist, Mr. B.M. Sreenivasaiah, is pioneered by the B.M.S community by cherishing noble ideas and sacrifices and service to our society. Notably, he was conferred with the title of the Dharma Prakasha Rajakarya Prasakta by the Maharaja of Mysore for his distinguished service in the education sector. I congratulate the organizers and the committee for striving to provide a platform for the budding legal minds to showcase their advocacy skills and gain valuable experience in stimulating the courtroom proceedings. As an alumnus of this renowned institution, it's more like homecoming as I begin my address. I had the privilege of 2 previous occasions to share the dais with the eminent legal dignitaries. One was Mr. Sreenivasaiah, who was the Attorney General for India, and Mr. Ramjit Balani, who is a very famous lawyer in a different college. Why I brought up this names is that some things I've written about them, then you will be, which generally the people do not know, and particularly the youngsters, you will get to know about it, how these people were and how they became successful. It would be of a keen interest for all of us to imbibe the crucial lessons from them. An excerpt from the book Sreenivasaiah, Life and Time tells us out. In the first 10 important cases that he appeared, Sorabji was led by a senior and did not offer any independent arguments in the court. Naturally, the senior advocate was led by most of us, and in this case, the early days of his own senior, Mr. Kashilji, for 4 years in his practice. As a junior, the majority of the briefs that Mr. Sorabji had received were those in which he had to stand up in the packed room, face the judge and make his arguments and try to obtain a favorable outcome for his client. This number rose substantially after he became a senior advocate. I will pause here to indicate a lesson you must learn as you progress in your legal education. The first 4 years were spent in observing and honing the skills required to put convincing arguments before judges. Perseverance is an important quality you need to inculcate in your career. Next, the renowned advocate, Mr. Ramjit Balani, in his career spanning for 75 plus years, stands out as a shining example of example for the law students nationwide. How many of us know that it's an interesting story behind his early days of practice? He started his career as a lawyer and a professor in Sindh before partition. He started his law firm in Karachi with his friend, Mr. A.K. Brohi, who was a senior to him by 7 years. In February 1948, at the time of when the riots broke out, at the time of partition in Karachi, he came to India on the advice of his friend with only ₹10 in his pocket. When he fought his first case, he was 17 years old in the court of Justice Godfrey Davis, contesting the rule regarding the minimum age passed by a Bar Council of Sindh. The first case fought in India as a refugee was against the newly introduced Bombay Refugees Act that treated the refugees inhumanly, in which Ramjit Balani fought in Bombay High Court, praying for the law and declared it unconstitutional. In an independent interview taken in 2015, he said, "One should learn to distinguish the profession from business. One has to always have the notion that the legal profession is a method of service to the public. Law is a profession, the practice of which requires tremendous industry. You must be capable when you are very young to put in about 15 to 16 hours. Justice does not ultimately depend upon law, it depends upon facts." Young students, I would urge you and call upon you to know this aspect very, very keenly, that we get to hear, which my esteemed friend Mr. Pai will agree that many of the lawyers come and then say that the matter is covered by this decision, etc., etc. They start with the position of law. It doesn't happen like that. Unless and until that you are very thorough with your facts, then the application of law will come, so that you see you'll be able to, that should be at the end of your argument, that incidentally it is covered. Or of course, if there are large number of matters, if the other side agrees, no difficulty, you need not waste the time of the court. Or otherwise, you must state your facts, then the law. That's exactly what in his interview Mr. Sorabji has said. He also said that you must know history, philosophy, science, logic, etc., etc. A lawyer who has a good command over his language will be able to persuade the judge better than the other one. The Bar Council of India elaborately notes the role of lawyers in the Indian freedom movement also. You have had people like Dadabhai Nauroji, Surendranath Banerjee, Madan Mohan Malviya, and to name a few of the long lists. Lawyers like Bal Gangadhar Tilak, who gave the new direction to the freedom movement. He was imprisoned and deported to Maldives for 6 years, where he wrote his 2 books, Gita Rahasya and Arctic Homes in the Vedas. He was released in 1914 when he started home rule for 2 years later in 1916, which inspired the youth to fight against the country's foreign occupation. Likewise, we have several others to name. The famous Deshbandhu C.R. Das, who used his legal knowledge to save many other nationalists and revolutionists from the clutches of the British. Likewise, historically, why I said few people's name, and in the contemporary era where we have worked, and with names like Mr. Ramjit Malani, Mr. Suli Sorabji, that you see, these are all people who will be of great inspiration for you, and to know that how they strived hard and came up is very important. Now, a bit to say about the Constitution. All of you must have read that after the Constitutional Assembly debates, the Constitution came. In his speech, Dr. Rajendra Prasad, what did he say? That's very important. As the chairman of the Constituent Assembly on the 26th of November 1949, when it met to approve the draft, Dr. Rajendra Prasad observed that they had been able to, on the whole, draft a good constitution which he trusted would serve the country well. But he said this, please note, if the people who are elected are capable and men of character and integrity, they will be able to make the best even of a defective constitution. If they are lacking in these, the constitution cannot help the country. After all, a constitution, like a machine, is a lifeless thing. It requires life because men who control it and operate it. And India needs today nothing more than a set of honest people who will have the interest of the country before him. Similarly, the H.V. Kamath once commented, the emblem and the crest that we have selected for our assembly is an elephant. It is perhaps in consonance with our constitution too, the bulkiest that the world has produced. Young students, whilst we were studying, this Moot court competition was not there. When we became lawyers, we entered courts and then saw how the courts were functioning. We joined the seniors' offices, and then worked hard there to understand how the courts really function. In the sense, it was an action in reality. Moot court thing is, in my view, is a very wonderful thing because you get to move in that direction, make a lot of research, make a case for your based on the subject that has been given, and you will have a lot of experience. One or two small tips I want to give that I have attended a couple of these moot courts as the judge and in the presiding in the last valedictory, etc. It's a kind of a very well organized, systematic way of approach, etc., etc. It's really good we wish if the courts also function like that. But you see, sometimes there will be monotony. But I would call upon you to please go to the courts in its reality and then see how things really work there. The courts, and sometimes, of course, it depends upon the judge who presides over and the bench which presides. More than me, Mr. Pai will be able to say about this. Some humor in the court, some kind of, how things take change, how seniors approach, how juniors are treated. These are all factors, in different courts. You must go to different courts, see right from the trial court, city civil court, or the court of the first instance of magistrates court, junior division, senior division, appeal court, then the high court. You must travel a bit and then go to different places and then see how actually the cases are conducted, how the judgments do come. Unless you have this, see, this is a very wonderful thing, that preparing a brief based on the subject that has been given. There are two sides of it, and it's a moot court, and you'll argue, and based on, of course, as a curriculum, and based the judges having been brought, they'll put some marks. There'll be a winner, runner, everything. But in my personal opinion, that is not sufficient. In many cases, silence is better than arguing. If you are on the respondent side and the petitioner had no case, and the court is putting questions which are hostile to the petitioner, so it's better to remain calm. We have seen as the juniors, and during the course of our practice, that sometimes the respondent has suffered an order stay by being more enthusiastic, by trying to interfere too much, in his enthusiasm to tell the judge that no, that the matter is, there is nothing in the matter, it's covered against the petitioner, etc., etc. Having said that, I'll give one simple example. When we were juniors, there was some matter was going on. There was a very enthusiastic petitioner, of course. He said, see, by and large, it was a petition under, in those days we used to call as this 21, Section 21 petitions under this Rent Control Act. It used to be under for self-occupation and all these kind of simple matters. But the lawyer was very enthusiastic, petitioner's lawyer, and he started saying, no, the matter is covered by Supreme Court. See, the judge got annoyed. He said, you go to Supreme Court, dismissed. I will dismiss the matter, you go to Supreme Court. So it's very important that you must know how the particular court behaves. What you must say and what you must not say before which judge. These are very, very important things that make you an excellent lawyer and a successful lawyer. And one or two other tips that I can give you is which we face as lawyers, the difficulties, and now as in the bench for a couple of years now. There is the busy lawyer may have a couple of cases, we agree, but the point is, every lawyer must have a small note on this in his brief. What has to be said? Minimum facts. It is covered by what, and what had happened on the previous dates. If he knows these things, then it will be very easy for the judge to appreciate, and such kind of an assistance judges do like. I can tell you by my personal experience. Secondly, I must also tell you a word of encouragement that I see a lot of youngsters coming to the courts now, very well prepared. But the point is, they have a little stage fear or nervousness. Don't have all that, but once you prepare your brief well, you can do a wonderful job. Very nice and very wonderful to see so many youngsters joining the profession by choice. 30 years back, 40 years back, people were not becoming lawyers. Many were not becoming. Of course, save and except few who wanted to become lawyers. But it used to be generally called as a profession where people used to do BA or BSc or whatever, then join law for various other reasons. So the kind of quality was not considered to be so high. After establishment of this national laws, school university for the first time, and this 5 years course, we see very good youngsters coming up. And it's very happy and warm, and so nice to see. Of course, being an alumnus coming back to my own home, I have a lot of things to say, but the point is today, because of paucity of time, you must excuse. I must end my note with thanking the management for having called me for this. And the principal was at one point of time, I telephoned and told her that I may be wanting to cancel because of the other program unless we are able to control the time. She was very insistent, and I'm grateful that this opportunity is given. I wish each and every one of you who have succeeded and who have participated in this Moot Court a bright career and a wonderful time ahead. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for your inspirational words. It is indeed very rare that we get the knowledge from the other side of the bench. Thank you so much for your words. As it's often said, perspectives may be 100, but the ability to prove it makes the breaking or the making point of justice. Thank you so much. Having said that, I would like to thank sir for accepting our invite and being present with us today, and also delivering such important tips that we need to follow. But due to his unexpected commitments, sir will be taking our leave now. I request everybody to rise from their seats. All of you kindly take your seat. I now request Priya Narayan R to introduce to us our guest of honor for the day.
Sir V. Sudesh Pai, a distinguished lawyer, jurist, and acclaimed author specialized in constitutional law and administrative law with masters in mathematics and law degree. He commenced his law practice 4 decades ago under the guidance of the late Shri S.G. Sundaraswamy, a renowned senior advocate and former Advocate General of Karnataka. His law practice spans various branches, including civil, constitutional, and administrative law. He also served as a government advocate at the High Court of Karnataka from 1999 to 2006, handling crucial litigation on behalf of the state. Apart from his private clientele, he has advised and represented various institutions. His scholarly contributions are significant, having assisted Dr. Durgadas Basu, a world-renowned commentator on constitutional law, in revising his commentary on the Constitution of India. Additionally, he played a vital role in projects by the Supreme Court, including the restatement of Indian law on legislative privileges and the book Courts of India. He holds visiting chair professorships at esteemed universities and is a respected resource person at the National Judicial Academy, Bhopal. His academic work, especially in critical constitutional analysis, has widely acknowledged by the Supreme Court and High Courts, with them citing his writings. Sir Sudesh Pai's impressive body of work includes several books, such as Legends in Law, Argues Faubourg, Working of the Constitution, Checks and Balances, and the Judicial Word of a Multi-Splendor Genius, Sir Ashutosh Mukherjee. He also received recognition and awards, including the Scott Literature Award and the Capital Foundation Professor Upendra Bakshi National Award for his contribution to law and legal literature. Over to you, sir.
Good evening to all. Chairman, Director, Principal, Faculty, and all of you bright young faces, fellow students. I address you as fellow students in the fond hope that I have not stopped learning, that I continue to be a student as all of us should be all our lives. particularly if you are a lawyer. In fact, Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa very meaningfully said, "As long as I live, so long do I learn." And if I may mention to you Sir Jamshedji Kanga, Justice Dinesh Kumar talked of Soli Sorabji. Soli Sorabji Senior was Karshedji Baba, and Karshedji Baba Senior was Sir Jamshedji Kanga. Jamshedji Kanga was a phenomenon at the Bombay Bar. He was tall in every sense, including physically. He was 6 feet 4 inches tall. And with his Parsi Pargi, he stood taller. And at 90 plus, and this is what I want to impress upon you, at 90 plus said, "I am still learning the law." He lived to be 94. And he is one of those on whose passing the Bombay High Court was closed. Courts are not closed on the passing even of judges. But when Sir Jamshedji Kanga passed away on 26th of March 1969, the Bombay High Court was closed for the day. So that was the great Kanga. The illustrious constitutional lawyers, Homi Sirvai and Nani Palkiwala, were among his other juniors. So also Sir Harilal Kania, the first Chief Justice of India. I say all this only to impress upon you that you belong to and would be entering a fraternity that is extremely illustrious and awe-inspiring. The fraternity of the law. Lawyers, judges, legal academics, all of us are part of that brotherhood. Learning, of course, is most important, whether one is a lawyer or a judge or a teacher. It's a continuing process that goes on till you leave this world. No one can ever say that I have finished and I know everything. Of course, we have such examples. Forget them. You must not only know what the law is, but you must equally know where to find it. It's impossible for any human being to know everything, but what makes a good lawyer is that he would be able to know where to look for the answers. That, of course, presupposes that he has a minimal background and exposure to the subject. The judge told you that you must learn and imbibe what to do and what to say. And I would add, even more importantly, what not to say and what not to do. That is perhaps even more important. Because by saying what you ought not to say and doing what need not or should not be done, you stand a definite chance of losing. Let me give you 2 examples. Sir Jamshedji, whose name I mentioned, having come to the bar quite late, he was already 27 when he entered the bar, as the junior of Sir Basil Scott. And as usual, he had no griefs. So he used to sit in court, watching how others argue and trying to imbibe how it is to be done, and even more importantly, what is not to be done. Now, watching and learning is an important element. I remember Chief Justice Verma telling us that he joined the chambers of Justice G.P. Singh. All of us would have heard the name of G.P. Singh, famous for his great work on statutory interpretation. And the senior G.P. Singh told him, well, you have a chair there, you can just sit there. He didn't tell him anything. He didn't tell him what to read, he didn't tell him what to do. The lesson was that the junior, who rose to be then the Chief Justice of India decades later, was to sit there and watch and imbibe. So this is a kind of a process, if I may say so, a process of osmosis, where you imbibe. And it is in this background that it is absolutely necessary that the seniors owe a great duty and responsibility to nurture and train batches of successful juniors. In fact, one of the earliest nursery, lawyers' chambers, we all refer to as the nursery or the stable. You're asked from which stable are you, or from which nursery are you, that means from which pedigree, which office. You would have all heard the name of W.C. Banerjee. He was the second or third barrister in India, the first president of the Indian National Congress at its inaugural session in Bombay in 1885. W.C. Banerjee took into his chamber Satyendra Prasanna Sinha and gave to the world Lord S.P. Sinha, Baron of Raipur, who rose to be the first Indian governor of Bihar after Bihar was separated from Bengal, who was in the British cabinet as a deputy secretary for war, the First World War, who sat on the Judicial Committee of the Privy Council. Sir S.P. Sinha took as his pupil Vinod Chandra Vittar. Vinod Chandra Vittar is the son of Justice Ramesh Chandra Vittar, a very eminent judge of the Calcutta High Court. And Vinod Chandra Vittar came out to the world as Sir Vinod, who again was a member of the Judicial Committee of the Privy Council. Vinod Chandra Vittar's junior was Rabindranath Sarkar. Sarkar rose to be the Advocate General of Bengal, law member of the Governor General's Council. Among Sir Nrpendra Sarkar's juniors were Sharat Chandra Bose. Sharat Chandra Bose, I must tell you, is the elder brother of Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. We all know him more as a public figure, but please remember, he was one of our most eminent lawyers that this country has seen. Another junior was Sir S.M. Bose. S.M. Bose, Sudhanshu Mohan Bose, rose to be the Advocate General of Bengal, appointed by the British government in 1943 or 1944, and continued to hold that position till he retired from the profession in 1966 under successive governments, foreign and our own. S.M. Bose's chamber had produced a large number of juniors. Yet another junior was N.C. Chatterjee, Nirmal Chandra Chatterjee, the father of Somnath Chatterjee, who was a judge of the Calcutta High Court, who resigned when the constitution came into effect and judges' salaries were reduced. That was the reason for his resignation. And practiced in the Supreme Court, you would find his name in all leading cases in the early years of the Supreme Court in the 50s and up to the mid-60s. Sharat Chandra Bose's junior, among many, was Sudhiranjan Das, Chief Justice of India, S.R. Das. And yet another junior was P.B. Mukherjee, Prashant Bihari Mukherjee, the brilliant Chief Justice of Calcutta, and the eldest brother of Justice Sreenivasaiah Mukherjee, who in turn rose to be the Chief Justice of India. So this is the kind of pedigree, this is the kind of tradition that is passed on from generation to generation. Carlyle said that tradition is an enormous magnifier, but we ought to remember that tradition is not like instant coffee. It has to be imbibed in each one of us, cherished, nourished, and passed on from generation to generation so that it is not lost. Now, law is a great profession, it's a great calling, it's a great service. The problem today is, like the press, law also has become highly commercialized. No one says that lawyers are to do their job free, but then the hallmark of a profession is service, while the hallmark of a business is profit. So that distinguishes, and this is what we must always bear in mind. Let me just give you an example, not of ancient times, but just maybe about 3 decades ago. You would all have heard the name of Sirvai, which I mentioned, Homi Sirvai. Students of constitutional law would definitely come across Sirvai's commentary on the Constitution. Late in his life, a solicitor went to him for an opinion. Sirvai studied the matter, took some time, and an opinion was given, and then of course a bill was raised. The solicitor went back to say, "Sir, you have spent so much of time, energy and effort in drafting this opinion, but your bill is for a very paltry sum. The clients have no problem to pay, so why don't you hike your bill?" Sirvai's response was, I would say, typical. He said, "The party came to me because they believed I knew the subject. They pay me for my knowledge. It took longer hours because I wanted to study it more. I had my own doubts to clarify. And therefore the party does not pay for my ignorance. The bill stands." And to a question by yet another youngster, "What is wrong, sir? If the client is prepared to pay, why cannot we charge a higher fee?" The response was, "If someone is willing to be robbed, would you be a thief?" I am mentioning this to you only in the fond hope that you have these ideals before you. As Chakla said in his autobiography, Roses in December, the delectable book, that you must know and hold up your hands to the stars so that you may fall at least on the treetops. But if your eyes are set only on the trunk of the tree, where would you fall? It will be in the gutter. We can't afford to do that. Therefore, our aim is always to be high. Whether one achieves it or not, the price is the process of endeavoring. That itself is the reward. Of course, if you achieve, great. If you don't achieve, nothing is lost. The very process is a reward in itself. constitutional law, you have the Moot on a subject in constitutional law. Constitutional law, again, is a great evolving, developing, emerging subject. But please remember that constitutional law is not all or just law. Constitutional law is the intersection of law and politics. Politics in its noble sense, I don't mean politicking. Politics are political science, economics, sociology, because we do not normally say that we interpret a constitution like we interpret a statute or a deed. You remember the famous words of John Marshall, Chief Justice Marshall. We must never forget that it's a constitution that we are expounding. The constitution is expounded. And to expound a constitution, whether as lawyers who assist in that endeavor, or as judges who really do that exercise, we must have our vision very different. The breadth of vision, the depth of insight has to be something very different from what even we as lawyers would have in normal, non-constitutional litigation. This is not to belittle other litigation. Other litigation is as important, as exciting, as adventurous, as heartwarming. Yet, constitutional law litigation stands apart in a class by itself. And like Chief Justice Chandrachud, I mean the father, said in 1978, under Article 131 also, you would remember, you have suits in the Supreme Court, original suits in the Supreme Court, where the parties are not private litigants, but whether there is a dispute between the union and the state, or the state and the state, or between the union and states of one side, though called a suit, it is not of CPC vintage. It's only the nomenclature suit, but it is not a civil suit of CPC vintage, to use the words of Chief Justice Yashwant Chandrachud. So it is in that sense that I say that constitutional law litigation has a different perspective, which we, whether as lawyers or judges or law teachers, ought not to miss. I would only, you have some time? I would only impress upon you with two anecdotes to tell you the level of preparation and scholarship that we had and should continue to have. It happened way back in the mid-60s. The court presided over, in the Supreme Court, the court presided over by Justice Subbarao, later Chief Justice. The court presided over by Justice Vijendra Gadkar, then Chief Justice, and consisting of Justice Subbarao, who later became Chief Justice, and Justice Bachawat. All three learned judges. Learned not out of courtesy, as we say, learned judge, but learned truly. And arguing before them was Vishwanath Shastri. Learned would not be sufficient to describe Vishwanath Shastri. So as he was arguing, Justice Bachawat interrupted him to say, Mr. Shastri, is it not true that the proposition that you are contending for is covered by the opinion of the Privy Council in such and such a case? Vishwanath Shastri paused for a moment and said, precisely, my lord, it is. But then, that is the only Privy Council judgment that has been adversely commented upon in Halsbury's Laws of England, volume so and so, page so and so, para so and so. Both these remarks were offhand. They did not refer and tell you. It was too much for the presiding judge, Justice Gajendra Gadkar. He said, stop, let us get the books. So the books were brought from the library and checked. And exactly as Justice Bachawat said, you had the judgment of the Privy Council saying the opposite of what Vishwanath Shastri was arguing. And as Vishwanath Shastri pointed out, you had the adverse comment on the judgment in Halsbury's Laws of England at the very para that he mentioned. So this was the level of scholarship. This was the level of preparation on both sides, the bar and the bench. I would appeal to you very earnestly that this is what you and I and all of us should have as our model. Because ultimately, what is important is, in life, one should try to achieve excellence. As Disraeli said, money is not the measure of man. Many times it shows us how small he is. And what is success after all? Success is when you have been able to leave a mark, when you have been able to leave a footprint on the sands of time. And we do that, as the Upanishad says, Chandogya Upanishad. Eddevya virayati karoti shraddhaya upanishadaha tat viryavarataram bhavati. That which is done with vidya, knowledge, shraddha, the totality of positive attitudes, and Upanishada contemplation becomes supremely efficient. So I think that ought to be our motto and our guiding light. Please remember that there is more to life than success and more to success than money. As Palkiwala said, while we all join the law, the bar, to do well, at the end of the day, we must have the satisfaction that we stayed on to do good. Thank you so much for your patience and courtesy, and wish you all the very best in your competition and in the days ahead. And thank you, the management and the organizers, for this opportunity to be in your midst this evening.
Thank you so much, sir, for your kind address. As you said, this fraternity in the past has welcomed people by option, but it is now that it's welcoming people with passion. But we also forget, as you said, the power of knowledge which is required. Passion doesn't bring the power which knowledge brings, and thank you for reminding us. And my personal key takeaway is, unlike other professions which sees the future through a mission which is started today, our fraternity sees the future in the vision which was seen at the past. So I think it's very important for us to go back to our history books and actually look what needs to be learned, the power of knowledge which was acquired through years of struggle in the profession. Thank you so much for your words. I now request our beloved chairman, Abhiram Sharma sir, for presidential address.
Good evening to one and all present here. So first of all, congratulations to all the team. I guess 32 teams are participating, which have come across the countries. Hearty congratulations first to participate in this competition. Secondly, I also like to thank and congratulate the entire B.M.S team, from the students to the faculty, who I know from the last 3 weeks spending day and night to get this particular event organized. So hearty congratulations to you too. Lastly, best of luck to all the participants. I hope it helps you to gain knowledge, experience, and also the contacts. As you are meeting a lot of students, maybe they might become friends, and you can use after you pass out your law. So best of luck, and may the best team win. So enjoy and have fun, and have a nice day also.
Thank you so much, sir, for the address. Having reached the last phase of today's program, wishing you all a very best of luck and a wonderful experience here. I now call upon Sahana Florence, Assistant Professor, Coordinator for National Moot Court Competition, to address the formal vote of thanks.
A very good evening to one and all present here, respected dignitaries on the dais and off the dais. Gratitude is the best thing that can be expressed. I take this opportunity to propose my vote of thanks. At the outset, I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to our Chief Guest, Honorable Mr. Justice P.S. Dinesh Kumar, for having accepted our invitation to inaugurate this event. I sincerely extend my heartfelt thanks to Shri Sudesh Paisa, Senior Advocate, High Court of Karnataka, to accept our invitation to present this performance. Thank you, sir. I extend my sincere gratitude to our beloved Chairman, Shri Aviram Sharma sir, for being a potential behind this event. Thank you, sir. Many thanks to our Principal, Dr. Anita F. D'Souza, for being the pillar of our strength. And many thanks to all the officials of the B.M.S. Educational Trust. I take this opportunity to thank all the participants for the B.M. Sreenivasaiah Memorial 8th National Level Moot Court Competition, students, volunteers, student coordinators, faculty, staff, press and media. Thank you once again. We shall ensure a great success of the event together. Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, and thank you for one and all being present here. Wish you all a very best of luck, and may you have the best learning experience in the upcoming 2 days. Thank you.
Participants are requested to get back to the auditorium. B.M.S. College of Law